Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Womack. I've worked at Verizon Wireless call center in Irving, Texas for the last 3 years. I'm glad that my job allows me to provide important services for our customers. But I've also noticed a number of problems in our work environment. In fact, when I first started, many of my coworkers told me that they were having trouble getting paid while out on medical leave. I could not figure out why this would be a problem. But then I had to miss work while having surgery to remove my gallbladder. My doctor sent in all the paperwork, yet I was stuck without pay while I was out recovering and my bills were mounting up. I remember being in pain, crying while I was laying up recovering, being on the phone with our benefits company time and time again, trying to figure out why my pay was not being approved. I was not ultimately paid for my medical leave until I returned to work. And there are other problems too. For example, one manager at our call center, who was a white man, wore an Afro wig at work a number of times. This was offensive to me and a lot of my coworkers, most of whom are African American. The manager ultimately had to apologize, but he was never disciplined for this. In fact, he recently received a company award instead. So you can imagine why some of my coworkers and I wanted to form a union. But right after we started discussing joining together in a union, the company began to force us to attend mandatory union trainings, in which they kept telling us why forming a union would hurt us. Sometimes a jump team calls workers they suspect may support organizing into those trainings at a moment's notice. Those trainings terrified a lot of people. Eventually, I asked our CEO about this at Verizon's shareholding meeting. But after that happened, my life got even worse. The company isolated me from my coworkers, and some people I was close to were afraid to even talk to me. It's also become harder for me personally to use my time off. I'm often required to use my emergency days before my personal days, even though this is not company policy. And managers have tried to humiliate me publicly in front of my coworkers, trying to make it seem like I've done something wrong. This retaliation makes it very difficult for workers to form a union if we want to. I believe that decision of whether to join together in a union should be up to me and other workers, without having us to face threats and retaliation. That's why I'm so glad that the House has taken up the PRO Act. This bill would put power back in the hands of workers like me to make our own decisions about forming a union without risking our jobs. I'm especially glad that the bill would ban the sort of mandatory anti-union trainings that we faced. It's also really important that the bill imposes real penalties on companies that break the law. Since right now it seems like companies can get away with pretty much anything with just a slap on the wrist. I believe that everyone should be treated fairly and be able to have a voice on the job. The PRO Act is a great step to help achieve that. Thank you.